Hello, my name's Jerry Hanley, and my day job is I'm the Assistant Vice Chancellor for California State University System Academic Technology. So I have library systems where we have 23 campuses, 23 library deans who all work in peace and harmony in acquisitions and loans, right? And we procure about 18 million in between journals and monographs, and we've just recently moved to Alma, so now we have a unified library management system to bring that peace and harmony together, and Primo will be key on the monographs. Now, John, now my night job is I'm the executive director of Merlot. How many people have heard of that, Merlot? Okay, beside the wine, right? It's multimedia educational resources for learning and online teaching. All right, took a few glasses to figure that one out. So I'm going to talk a little bit about open education resources here. And, you know, Charles said that monographs, open access monographs, was more fragmented than what open access journals are. But when you talk about open educational resources, we are dust, powder blowing in the wind with some of these things. And that's some of the challenges in discovery. And I put this little comparison up here. The scholarly publishing has so many advantages to enable discovery. And I started just breaking around, understanding the kind of the environments that you have. The audience, your academics, they know what they're looking for the most part. They have the context. But when you're now having students who don't know anything about what they're learning and faculty trying to teach them these things, there really is, from the audience side, they're nowhere near as skilled as looking for instructional content. And that begins with a real challenge in the discovery process. The purpose, content, you know, on the scholarly side, you're looking for evidence to support an argument, right? And so there's a focus in order for you to enable you to discover your strategies, whether you're browsing or keyword searching or looking at recommender systems or, you know, whatever, talking to your reference librarian. When you go to, on the open education resources, these are for instructional purposes. And if I'm trying to teach physics, and I'm teaching at MIT, or I'm teaching at Cal State, or I'm teaching at a community college, do you think the content is going to be the same for what a faculty member may want to use in those three classes? What do you think? Yes? No? Right? They're going to be all over the place, because faculty have a lot of control around what they want to teach in their class, and the students who they have in their class makes a big difference on what you want to look for. Now, is there any metadata around the content and the audience that are the readability of these things? Right? So a challenge here. And people have different pedagogies. Oh, I want to use active learning versus I want to stand up on being a lecturer. All this type of information to do the discovery, to have metadata around the content for instructional material really becomes a challenge here. So in Mark, thank goodness for Mark, over in Learning Objects, IEEE LOM, how many people ever put out the 75 metadata fields in that? Or Dublin Core, right? You're lucky if you get, you know, 2/3 of that metadata around learning resources there. And the other aspect is the taxonomy. Faculty looking for content are often organized by the way they think their majors are organized in their own institution. Do you think the way your campuses are organized align with Library of Congress? You're not that powerful, trust me, right? The faculty make the right. So you have this challenge of the content taxonomy looking for open education resources for instructional purposes. And then you folks, again, now on my library side, I got lots of skilled catalogers, and you know, thank goodness for OCLC. You got WorldCat. You have people collaborating. People are trained about how to do the cataloging process. When it comes to open education resources, it's a cottage industry, and people don't often have a clue about how to discriminate between different types of materials that they're cataloging. So all these factors, the nature of open education resources, if you want to think, the maturity of it as an enterprise is, I'll say, significantly lower. We're more at the toddler stage than they may be at the adolescent or young adult stage that we have in the other areas. And these factors make discovery a challenge. So when I looked at the graph, and I want to thank John for doing this, in OER, and I'm going to focus a bit on Merlot and some of the things that we're doing here, what we've done to help enable the discovery of open education resources, because it really is a cottage industry out there, and you really got to make it really systemic. So in Merlot, we've created Google search tools where it's just not keyword search. We've identified, in a sense, characteristics of our user. Who are the people looking for educational content to create kind of an analytic tool for a Google search so you can find things. And if you put in DNA, the top things aren't about paternity suits, but they're actually about instructional materials. So we have this, we call it smart search there. We also have, for looking at academic search, our parallel is federated search. We identified there's about, I don't know, I'd say about 80 different types of repositories or metadata repositories out there in OER. Doing one key search, we hit all those libraries there. Primo, we're moving to Primo, and we're going to be able to bring some of these metadata index and abstract indexes into Primo in our own implementation. It's going to be important. For publisher identified, we have something called the Merlot ISBN Finder. One of the key aspects we look for is how do you get an institution and a faculty member to change from an expensive textbook to an open textbook. And so we create a little tool. You type in the ISBN of your textbook, grab a MARC record from that, pull out the keywords, throw it into the Merlot search engine, and pulls up open education resources associated with that textbook, right? It's a pretty cool thing. And it's a widget, too, that you're welcome to stick anywhere you want on a website. Okay. There's specified bibliographic databases, Merlot, OER Commons, there's a bunch out there. Recommender systems, we have that too. How many people familiar with BX recommender system? Black box record from Ex Libris. You find a link, they say here are links that other people click when they looked at that material. We have that type of version in Merlot. And then working with libraries, LibGuides, and building special collections in our libraries is another way that we have people creating these things. And the last thing, and I think Charles mentioned about your retailers, VitalSource. Are people familiar with VitalSource as the distribution? Basically, Follett, Barnes & Noble, MBS use the VitalSource platform for the distribution of ebooks, and it's also a discovery tool in your bookstores. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be running, the CSU Merlot has a partnership with that. We're going to be running open textbooks through VitalSource. Okay. So is that helpful? Yes. Okay. So I just want to show you just some tools that we built. If you're interested in workforce development, we have a huge grant from the Department of Labor to find open education resources if you're looking for stuff in IT, healthcare for workforce development. And so we create a little visualization. You run your cursor over the different colors. If you like, that you click on the box and then it'll open up into, so it's a user interface, and we'd open up to a DSpace repository, and we're going to move to Hydra or whatever the new name's going to be. Here's one. This is a really cool website, right? The California Open Online Library for Education. And one of the challenges here is the cost of educational content for your students can be a significant barrier for their success. And so we've created a simple filtering of find all the open and free textbooks. How many open and free textbooks do you think are out there in the world? Anyone want to take a guess?
80,000.
80,000? No, we have about 6,000. And again, now what's the difference between the directory of open monographs, right? What's the difference between a textbook and a monograph? Many times there's nothing, right? All right, and we also have course showcases. Now, when faculty are looking for materials, they say, how do you do the discovery is, what course are you teaching? And I'm teaching financial accounting. And how many people think financial accounting is really that different between New York, California, Michigan, and wherever else you are? It's not, right? So we've organized it by courses and say, here are the textbook with these courses. So you just go to that site and you can find that stuff. And this is Merlot. We have about 80,000 open education resources in the Merlot collection. And so when I type in DNA, you get a bunch of stuff. And right away, simultaneously, it'll search all these other collections. You click on that tab, and you'll find DNA materials in other collections. And then this is our smart search going out to Google, getting instructionally related materials related to that. And you can put all those there, just to try to kind of look at how you can do the discovery in a single platform from the multiple resources, whether academic, web, or whatever. The other aspect is around, we call them bookmark collections and course portfolios. People create playlists of biology materials. And so here we have 472 people created little playlists or bookmark collections, so you can say, oh, Charles found 10 things. Why do I have to do that searches? I'll just copy his collection into mine, and then I can go ahead and use that. So we have those in there. So those are the aspects about open education resources. It's a jungle. Go prepared.